And we are on the air. I think we are on the air.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning and welcome to Live from the Heartland. And time for Jimi Hendrix to go down. There we go. Hi, everybody in Rogers Park, Chicago, Illinois, the Midwest, the Great Lakes bioregion, U.S. of A, and
Anywhere in
planet
the world.
Earth. How you doing?
I'm good. Good morning, Katie Hogan. Let's
morning,
let everyone
Michael
know
James.
they're listening to the Live from the Heartland show.
I had done that, but it was over Jimi Hendrix, and nothing gets out over Jimi Hendrix.
Well, we're here at the lovely corner of Glenwood and Lunt. We're in the heart of Rogers Park, where
Yes.
once again we're bringing you another edition of the Live from the Heartland show. How about everybody out there in the in-house listening audience saying good morning? 1, 2, 3. Good morning.
Good morning.
All right. We love to hear it. We like it when there's a little crowd here.
Happy breakfast time, everybody.
Eat oatmeal
Well, I
today.
was
Good for
kind
the
of
digestive system.
I was kind of inspired by Aretha Franklin's Amazing Grace from our previous show that I was hearing in my earphones before we changed into here. Look, it's a gorgeous day. It's February 23rd. It's coming on the end of Black History Month. We still have the Heritage Wall up.
Every month is Black History Month.
Well, maybe. The line is that
Latino
every month is
Native
White
American
History
Month. Is all this. Let's have it all the time, all of them.
Obviously, we haven't rehearsed. Okay. So, I don't know how many of you were at the climate change rally last weekend, but I salute you for doing it. We don't know if President Obama is going to sign off on Keystone or not, but our sense is he shouldn't. We have a pretty active green group here in the neighborhood, and so we are so excited that finally recycling has come to Rogers Park. And so there's a lot of details that we have to get about it, so we brought up the pro, our neighborhood leader in all things green, and also just a great activist all around, Mr. Bob Fuller. Good morning, Bob.
Good morning, Katie. Good morning, Michael.
Welcome
Good
to
morning,
Live
Bob.
from the
Good to have
Heartland.
you. I'm glad you brought your own personal photographer with you.
Everywhere.
Well, he's very smart. You've taken a look at Audra, right? His bride. There you go. Bob Fuller, you were on the show not that long ago when we were covering elections to school board, to local school councils, which you won your election.
I did.
You
Yes,
did?
thanks to the great residents right around the Heartland who are in that voting area.
Field school.
Field school, yeah. Well, this is exactly the kind of grassroots involvement that every neighborhood needs to be a viable neighborhood. So thank you for keeping that heritage alive, because that is our heritage here in Rogers Park. So right now, it's only been my lifetime that we've been waiting for recycling, not only in this neighborhood, but the entire city. So we're very excited that the mayor has decided that we're next, right? Our ward and the 50th ward?
That's correct. After quite a while of working on a 1980s issue in the second century of the 21st century,
Tell it,
or
brother.
second decade of the 21st century, we are finally getting Blue Cart recycling in the 49th ward, and our friends over in the 50th ward are also getting to do that. That's exciting news. The way the city has said it is essentially they were able to figure out and find the money through various ways to finally expand Blue Cart recycling, which seems like it should be fairly obvious since we're currently paying for every black cart that we put in the landfill,
Right.
And we at least get a little bit of money back for the goods that we send into any blue carts or to the drop-off bins over at Devon Avenue, and so only makes sense that we finally have recycling in the neighborhood.
Okay, there's a lot of ways into this, and I think we need to talk about a couple of issues. One, starting off, is there seems to be an alikeness to the kind of person who goes, "What do you mean recycling?" who just sort of goes, forget about it. It's that kind of
And
mentality.
throws their cigarette butt out the
and
window.
throws their cigarette butt on this, or just tosses everything into the same garbage, which hurts my heart. I mean, I go to other people's house and take garbage out. And
Okay, Kate.
But so, what do
So
we?
you're that lady with the cart that I saw?
I will be soon. See me in a decade. No. What do you do with the recalcitrants, or do you just not pay attention to it and forge ahead and say we're going to go with the people who understand the importance of recycling and
So
drag
just
them along?
to get to a little bit of the facts moving forward, this upcoming week of February 25th, the Streets and Sanitation Department is going to be delivering Blue Cart recycling bins to all residents that currently have city pickup, so that's single-family homes, 2 flats, 3 flats, and 4 flats. Our multi-unit building, people living in buildings larger than 5 units,
Like me.
still and me, are still going to need to figure out the other ways to recycle. But and then starting the week of March 11th, our recyclables will actually be picked up by the Streets and Sanitation with a special recycling pickup. It's not the same truck as the normal garbage. So just right there, for decades we've had people being able, their only recycling option was to gather all of their cans, bottles, newspapers, keep it in their garage for weeks on end, and then finally bring it over to the Streets and Sanitation lot over on Devon. And so all of that work, that's not everybody who's willing to do that. So it's
Right.
kind of understandable that people say, well,
Forget about it.
yeah, forget about it.
Right.
So, and now with the expansion of Blue Card into the neighborhood, you don't have to sort all your paper from your plastic and everything like that. Anything that's recyclable, you simply put in the blue bin. If you can clean out as much of the food as possible from old cans and things like that, that's wonderful, but not necessary. And so this is really kind of lowering the barriers for people to be able to participate in recycling in the neighborhood. There's still going to be, that crazy neighbor who leaves his Christmas decorations up until July, who throws his cigarette butts in his beer bottles and throws that in the trash. That person is still going to continue to kind of be a stick in the mud, but for the vast majority of us, all the wonderful people, all of our great neighbors who we live side by side with, they're going to participate because it's so much easier now.
So, Bob, you did with the Alderman's office, you did a rollout of this program on Wednesday night?
That's right. Wednesday night we had a big crowd over at the
That's what I
Rogers
wanted
Park
to
Library.
know. You had a big crowd,
And the mayor.
the mayor was in town, in
Was
the
he there,
neighborhood.
The mayor was in town on Wednesday. He was not at
In our
the 49th Ward he actually came that morning to the Streets and Sanitation yard and talked about the program, had
Is
a
that
press
what the
conference.
email from the alderman was about how great it was to have the mayor in the ward?
That was one of them, yeah. But then Wednesday night, we actually held an event where close to 100 people showed up.
Good.
One of the most focused and interested crowds I've seen if you've been to a community meeting in Rogers Park, it's representative of the wide diversity of thoughts.
It's like a
opinions.
Bruegel painting.
I won't compare it to any other types of paintings, but it was a group of people who were just so excited about having this better option in our neighborhood, and they. I know, Katie, you're one of them, and lots of people have been doing this. They've been signing up as recycling block captains.
Right.
These are the people who are going to be, that special volunteer on the 1400 block of Greenleaf or on 7000 North Ashland, who are willing to help their neighbors learn about this program and to be able to actually use our recycling system to its optimum by being that voice in the neighborhood, on the block, who has the correct information of, can I put a number 7 piece of plastic in my bin or not?
Exactly.
Well, I want to ask a few questions going backwards. One,
So once again,
What?
no rehearsal.
what?
No rehearsal.
No
There
rehearsal.
doesn't need to be a rehearsal.
No,
What?
I
What took so long to get the blue cart recycling in our ward?
Duh.
Well, I actually took
older
a
than
number of
Bob.
geology classes in college, and if you've ever seen how glaciers form and then move and cut pathways through the
He clearly
Midwest.
prepared.
Indeed.
But, I think like anything that our fair city does, that any public entity does, you can see our priorities by the budgets that we create. And clearly, for a long time, recycling was and keeping things out of the waste stream were not a priority. Mayor Emanuel, while people have many issues with him, and I know he was a guest here at the Heartland not long ago. He has made it a priority to expand recycling and to reduce how much we are wasting as a community every year. So I think he should be applauded for his efforts to solve this issue, and for most importantly, the thousands of people who have been working on this issue for decades.
Amen.
Well, we've talked recycling on Live from the Heartland show over the years, and a couple of things I remember, and maybe you can clarify, was there were a number of people critical of the actual blue cart program and how it was set up. Is that the most efficient way to do recycling? Let's start with that.
No, I think you're thinking about the blue bag program. People
I
were
might
critical
be.
of that.
Oh, that's good. Then the blue
but I think
carts
it's a
is
good
step
question
forward.
because what happened, and historically this is what folks will run into with the new program. I bet people ask this question on Wednesday night. They said, hey, blue bags, we watched them go into the same garbage can as the landfill garbage.
Right,
Is
and
this
only a minimal percentage of the stuff really got recycled.
Exactly. I mean,
So
people actually
that's
had to hand pick it
we
out
have
of
a
blue
shift
bags.
going on now.
So this is different.
So I think that's an important reason that people
Distinction.
are a little bit cynical is,
Exactly.
fool me once, shame on me, or shame on you. But people don't want to be fooled a second time. And, I've actually been working on recycling issues since I was still in school.
Knee-high to a grasshopper.
Exactly. So, and I've
Be
actually
a green grasshopper.
being a bit of a recycling nerd, and I know there are others out there like me. I've gone on a couple tours of the different plants where they do the.
So which
the
one?
actual-
Waste management?
I went to the waste management site down in Lawndale.
Right.
All nuclear waste management.
I'm sure they do. That's
Somebody's got to.
Yeah, we create it. All of us
That's
are
why
creating
we got
it.
rid of them.
And also, it's actually incredibly fascinating. They actually will have tours for the public to go down there to see the number of contraptions and methods that they use to get valuable materials out of our waste stream. It's kind of like an episode of Mr. Wizard or a game of Mousetrap.
You are a
it's just-
recycling nerd. I love that, Bob.
I will wear that badge happily.
Now, you said you went to the one in Lawndale. There was a second one we interrupted and didn't hear. The second place you visited?
I actually I went to a similar recycling
Site.
plant in Ohio when I was in school.
Okay.
Where they used a similar system as we do, or as the blue card is. So the blue bag, because it was only one method of collecting both recyclables and landfill waste. It's just in order to kind of deminggle or to separate those materials again.
Let the demingling begin.
Exactly. I hope that word catches on. Remember who said it first.
I will. You got it, Fuller.
It was so much more labor intensive that obviously it's going to be less efficient. This system, while you don't need to make sure that all of your white paper is separated from your newspaper and that your
Gracias a
brown
Dios.
bottles and green bottles are separated, all of it can go in the blue cart. It's a separate pickup from the landfill pickup.
Right.
And so right there, you have so much less labor on the part of streets and sanitation, waste management, whoever's actually doing the collection,
Right.
that you're going to lose less of those valuable materials, and fewer of those valuable materials will be going into the landfill.
You're listening to the Live from the Heartland show, brought to you every Saturday morning over WLUW 88.7, and in the not-too-distant future, it'll be also on CAN TV. We're proud to say.
Look out.
Working out the details. And this is Michael James. I'm here with the co-host Katie Hogan, and we're talking to Bob Fuller, who is head of the 49th Ward Green Corp, and we are getting filled in on the coming of the green carts. I mean, the blue carts. To make things green.
Hopefully green carts down the road.
You're cut off.
Okay,
No.
I had another question. First of all, I wanted to clarify. You mentioned a couple of times that there is recycling for people living in bigger buildings. That's 5 stories or 5 apartments or more. They can still take their stuff over to the streets and sanitation yard, which you mentioned Devon Avenue, but that's Devon and
It's actually
what?
Ravens. It's more
Ravenswood and
Ravenswood,
Devon.
just north of Devon.
Yeah.
It's actually
so-
Ravenswood and what's the
Right.
name of that? Schiller? Wallen?
Rosemont?
No.
We don't
not
know.
Rosemont. It's,
Anyhow.
it's one block
Go
north
one
of
block
Devon.
north on Ravenswood of Devon, and you'll take a right into it, or you might go right into the police station. But they're over there, so people know. The other thing I wanted to address, or have you address, Bob, is the mayor had put out a call for bids and competition between our city garbage collectors and the privatization of garbage collection.
Oh, yeah.
What is the
What's the story on
I'm
that?
not sure. What's the story? I mean, I think that, I kind of like things when they're held by the public sector. I know that the trend is privatization. What's going on with that great competition between the private and the public garbage collectors?
Sure. So I truthfully am a little bit ignorant of this and don't want to say anything that isn't true and put false words out
Other
there.
people do. Why not
well,
you?
they do, but
Not on Live at the Heart.
From my
from the Heartland.
understanding and from a conversation I've had with the head of the Blue Cart program, he said that the use of waste or private haulers as competition with our publicly paid and employed streets and sanitation workers has seen a marked improvement in their own efficiency in their work.
Yeah, I would think so.
Obviously,
A little pressure.
yeah, you have a little pressure to save your job.
Yeah.
But I don't want to throw any of them under the garbage truck. But streets and sanitation doesn't have the best
Record.
best record and best reputation for being what you would say the trustful people taking care of the public dime.
Taking care of business.
Yeah, so I think that
I
while
will say 49th Ward was the exception to that rule for a long, long time. Because we had Bill Norcutt. We had Mike Erickson after him. We had really, really responsive Streets and Sand guys. And you're right to say Streets and Sand did not have a great rep for a long time.
and like any reputation, oftentimes that's ruined by just a couple people who aren't doing what they are supposed to be. And so, I think that like anything, unfortunately, I don't think there was enough public pressure from we as residents to make sure that our public money was being used effectively. And
Ain't that a bear?
So this is this is kind of a roundabout way to put a little bit pressure for our money to be used more effectively. But supposedly the savings created through better efficiencies and not laying people off by getting people to work a little bit quicker and
Smarter.
wasting a little bit less time, they've been able to save enough money in order to actually introduce this program to the entire city. So
That's significant. That is very
All
significant.
right, what are the next steps on the...
Wait 1 second. Let's share with people the exact address. Streets and Sand address here in Rogers Park in the 49th Ward is 6441 North Ravenswood. Thank you, Suzanne.
So if you don't get your blue cart and you live in more than 5 units and you have to haul your own recycling, that's where you take it.
Yeah.
and you can do it. It's fun. I've dumped a lot of things off there.
Michael has fun no matter what he does. I mean, really.
I'm having fun here, too. It's good to have everybody listening in to the Live from the Heartland show. I did want to shift a little bit here now that we've talked about the blue carts coming. Just give us a date when they're coming, and we are in the process, I know that you'd mentioned it, of educating people that they're coming and how to use them. So fill us in on that, and then I want to switch to a little bit on the Green Corp here in Rogers Park.
Sure. So starting this upcoming Monday, you'll start seeing Streets and Sanitation dropping off these beautiful blue carts that have been
made from oil.
That have been aging in a warehouse for several years to get a nice vintage on them. And they will be actually delivered to the front yard of each home and small building in the neighborhood that gets city pickup. So look for them in the Parkway area. They're delivering them there because not every alley is well marked with addresses, and they want to make sure that people are getting their carts. And then when they arrive, people should then bring them around back to their alley or wherever they store their normal landfill black bin. And then starting the week of March 11th, Streets and Sanitation will begin its recycling pickup, and it'll be a bi-weekly pickup.
Every other week.
Every other week, starting March 11th. And you can go to chicagorecycles.org for that schedule and for information on what to and what not to recycle. Or you can call the 49th Ward Service Office, and that number is 773-338-5989, and they will be able to give you all the information about everything you'd ever want to know about the Blue Cart system. And also, if you're interested in volunteering some of your time as a recycling block captain, you can also call that number again. It's 773-338-5989. And they'll take down your name and information for becoming a recycling block captain. And we hope to have a meeting with all of those recycling block captains, hopefully this upcoming Saturday after the Live from the Heartland show, so people can listen to that and then go to the meeting. But the location is yet to be determined.
Next Saturday morning.
It's great having Bob Fuller here.
Wait, I got another question, Michael. One last question.
Well, I have a couple clues.
Oh, good.
Ahead. No, go ahead, Kate. Just butt in. We've been doing it all day.
I know. I'm sorry.
No, she's not.
Hey, are people going to put their addresses on these blue carts? Do you see that happening?
The addresses are already written on the carts. That's how the Streets and Sanitation people know where to deliver them to. And then as this first set of blue carts gets replaced, supposedly in the future, since they all break down eventually, they'll actually have radio ID tags on them.
Sure they will.
So, just like we all will someday.
Little chips in their
Little chips
brains.
inside the brain of the blue cart.
Right.
So that when and if your blue cart gets stolen or misplaced or
they can track it down.
Used for a sled, they can track it down where it's living the high life in Panama or just down the street.
All right, Michael.
All right. Well, I was going to compliment Bob Fuller as being a great green guy doing blue cart work.
Yes.
So politically, you're kind of blue. Environmentally, you're certainly green.
The last time I checked, yes.
You've emerged as the head of the 49th Ward Green Corp. Where did you come from? I mean, you just showed up a couple years ago and you're Mr. Activista.
Mr. Activista. Right.
Well, I'm originally from the biggest little city in the world, Reno, Nevada. Very similar to Chicago in many ways.
I won money there one time driving through.
It's the first time I ever saw a slot machine in a gas station bathroom.
In a gas station bathroom? That's pretty amazing.
It was 1972. I think they took them out since
oftentimes, so the grocery store we would go to, they had slot machines in it.
Yeah.
You'd oftentimes see my first grade teacher smoking a cigarette and playing the slots before class. So that's kind of how Reno is in some ways. It's an interesting place. But I've lived in Chicago going on 10 years. I worked in the Chicago schools for about 5. with an AmeriCorps program called City Year Chicago.
Oh, sure, great.
I know some wonderful residents of Rogers Park have participated in that program or have been touched by it.
Yeah.
And for the past 5 years, I've been working on political issues as well as currently I work with the Center for Neighborhood Technology on a program called Energy Impact Illinois, which provides money for people to actually do improvements to the insulation and energy usage of their homes, and it's a Department of Energy program.
I want a job with CNT.
All right, so tell me about the Green Corp here in Rogers Park now.
Sure. So the Green Corp is definitely a wonderful collection of people who are just interested in making the neighborhood more sustainable and building our own community at the same time. Our basic premise is people all the time have great ideas on how to improve the neighborhood, and they're oftentimes already doing it. Say, having a trash to treasure swap in their own block where people get together and would trade things that they no longer want. But what we do is we get folks together and have them work in teams to make their impact even bigger. So, for example, the idea of the trash to treasure swap started off as just, I'll do this with a couple of my neighbors. And for the past few years, it's been one of the biggest community events, and we're hoping to host this once again in May.
Is August still in on that? Frazier?
Autumn Frazier, Autumn Frazier has been. She has been the general pattern of the trash to treasure swap.
Swaporama.
She is certainly the driving force behind it in so many wonderful ways. But we're hoping to have that once again in May this year. We have yet to find a good location. This past year we had a wonderful one. We hope to get that again. A time or a date and location is yet to be determined.
You'll be back here, or somebody talking about it.
Yes, hopefully, and because it's in addition to keeping so many reusable, valuable things out of the landfill, it's also really a great time for people from all different parts of the neighborhood to get together, to meet each other, to exchange things that they no longer want that the other person does want. So
it's totally terrific.
That's one example of the things we've done. We've also, last spring you all had me on to talk about the effort to push the mayor over the top to finally bring recycling to the 49th Ward.
Good.
Yeah, good work.
Many people did great work on that. Mm-hmm. It was the last big effort, and so that was one of the things that the 49th Ward Green Corp takes great pride in, as well as helping with beach cleanups, with the annual springtime neighborhood cleanup, a number of projects.
Bob Fuller, just one last question, because it might not be clear to people. We did describe it that the blue carts will not be available to buildings, to those of us who live in buildings that are 5 or more units in the building. And we, of course, put ourselves over at Ravenswood. What part of the Green Corps' trip when I did the training, one of the projects that someone did was to put together a thing for condo owners about how to get their garbage recycled, and also for apartment dwellers of these larger units of how to convince your landlord that picking up a recycling plan for your building is cost efficient. Now, does the Green Corps still have materials like that available to apartment dwellers? For example, when we're going around doing our education thing.
Yes, definitely. And that's one of the things that comes up constantly, and I know that finally getting the blue cart to the single family homes and to the apartment buildings of up to 4 units is incredibly important. And now that we have that and can focus on getting as many people to participate in that, our next focus really needs to be getting that other half of the neighborhood that lives in larger buildings. Well, citywide, it's half.
Okay.
In Rogers Park, it's probably more closer to 60 to 70% live in buildings that are larger than 4 units, and so either need to completely eliminate all waste from their lives, which is, I'm sure, quite easy. I'm being sarcastic, of course. Or are forced to bring all of their recyclable materials to the streets and sanitation lot. Or their other option is to engage with their neighbors and to get their landlord or their condo association to start implementing a recycling plan, which they are required by law to do.
Right.
Unfortunately, that law doesn't have a lot of teeth in it, so it really calls on the residents of those buildings to organize themselves, which is a good opportunity, but not everyone has the time and resources to do that. So again, you can call Alderman Joe Moore's service office for the 49th Ward at 773-338-5989, and we have a whole toolkit available at the office of how to some of the best practices for getting recycling into a larger building. And then also the ChicagoRecycles.org also has an excellent toolkit on their website for how to do that as well.
Okay, Bob Fuller. Thanks
Hear
for
it
getting
for Bob
up
Fuller.
early.
Let's hear it for Bob Fuller. Come on.
Let's hear it for recycling in the ward.
You're listening to
Thank
Live
you.
from the Heartland Show. We're brought to you every Saturday morning on